It's so good to be with you again. This time we're going to talk about something that a lot of people wonder, and a lot of people ask me actually, is how do I know when my work is good enough to sell? And there are a lot of answers to that. But the best way I think I can tell you is to show you. I've gone back and I found a big hamper full of work out in my back garage that comes from the early 90s when I was first really starting to make jewelry, late 80s, early 90s. And then I have some going through the years to show how it changed, evolved, got better, and how I thought it was good enough to sell. And I hope it will encourage you to go ahead and get yourself on out there, show what you got, and not to worry about if it's perfect or not. That's an evolution of things that will come in time. People will tell you things. Most of them will be kind, some of them won't. But if you want to do this, if you want to be an artisan that sells your work, you have to go through this process. So I'm going to show you how I went through it. So come on over here, and I'm going to show you the actual pieces. Now, when I started out, I was at first attracted to vintage jewelry, and so I got to know a good bit about vintage jewelry, and I bought a lot of it, and I sold even more. And one thing I found I needed to do was to repair a lot of pieces because, you know, hey, they're old girls, they fall apart just like we do. And so I had to learn how to put them back together so long as it wasn't a difficult repair or an impossible one. But I learned a lot about how jewelry was made. And back then too, there weren't a lot of crafts people in my area of the country, in Ohio, PA, that were making tons of jewelry, except maybe beaded gemstone jewelry, very simple, just, you know, some stones going around the neck, and it was fine, nothing wrong with that. But my artist heart required more. I could not just stay there and do simple beading. I had to do something else. Even though, being honest with you, I never made any jewelry before and I didn't know what I was doing. But you know, I've told you the story of 1928 jewelry many times, or if you've read my book, you know it. Those two guys didn't know anything about making jewelry and didn't for a while. And that didn't stop them. So neither should it stop you. You can learn as you go, and your audience will be the people that see your things, and they'll tell you, they'll give you feedback, and you got to be able to take it. Most of it will be very encouraging, though. I'm going to show you some of my early pieces. These pieces, they're a fright. They might make you laugh, or you might say, I see potential in them. But let me tell you, I sold many, many pieces that were like this. Most of these are friendly plastic or paper with resin, and I don't even know where to start. This is horrible, but I'll show it to you. And I had it for $10 on sale, as if. Of course, nobody bought it. Which way? This way? Okay, thank you, honey. And it's a dove in the middle, on paper, with resin over, and then embedded in friendly plastic. I sold a lot of this type of jewelry. No kidding, I really did. I look at it now, and I'm embarrassed. But you know what? I wasn't embarrassed back then. I figured I made this stuff, you gotta show it. People need to see it. I'll find out if it's any good or not. What I'm seeing here is this is $10 on sale. Oh yeah, right. You know, sometimes you dream. Most of my stuff back then was like $2, $3, $4 though, maybe $5. These were from maybe once I've been doing shows a little while, maybe 91, 92. Okay, so there's that. This is a necklace. This isn't one of my best ones that I ever made. I made some pretty good ones like this, but I still have this because it broke and it wasn't too good, so nobody bought it. But I would take rat tail cord and I would wrap friendly plastic around it, like right here, make a toggle out of it, even put a little stone in there. And then I made this little ruffly thing. I made a lot of earrings made like this too, only a little bit smaller. Not a lot though, they were pretty big. And then I embedded whatever kind of stuff I see. Plastic bits, I see shell, I see acrylic, just all kinds of things with resin over it. And I sold a lot of stuff like this. Most of it was a little better than this though, to be honest with you, but this piece was left because it wasn't so great. Another thing that I did, and I made a lot of, was paper jewelry. And I'll just show you different examples so we don't take all day and all night. These are all paper pieces, and what I would do is I would take very, very heavy watercolor paper, the heaviest I could find, and then I would paint it real random, real abstract, no picture to it, just a cacophony of color, really like something exploded on it. Or maybe a little bit of a pattern like this. And then what I would do is after that paint cured, I would do a heavy coating of Envirotex resin, which I'm not even sure they make it anymore. Back then that was pretty much, if you wanted resin, that's what you bought. And it was a 2-part resin. And sometimes I failed and didn't get it mixed up right, but most of the time I was successful. So I had put this stuff like a lake over that piece of paper. And then I would cut it up or tear it up as I could. And then I would make it into something. So I'd make these big earrings, and here's a pin. This one's got words on it. It says believe, believe, believe. I don't know. Believe you're going to be an artist. I guess. I don't know. And this had CBs. These were gold at one time, but they turned, because these are like really old, like 20 years old, older. So anyway, and they were in my dark, hot garage in a box for many years. So I dug them out today. These I made a little bit later in time, and you can see. How do I know? Well, these cards are all made by hand. I made them all by hand on black poster board, and then I outlined them in gold. This one was commercially made for me. It said handmade in USA, Bissau Boutiques. So that would mean it was probably around 93, 94 when I was starting to wholesale. So anyway, but yeah, these are mine. I kept them for a long time. I think I even wore them once in a while. But that shows you what I did with paper. So I'll set these aside, and I wasn't afraid to show them. And you know what? I sold a lot of them. I didn't sell as many of these as I did of the like friendly plastic stuff, but I did sell quite a few, and I had a ball making them. And that's part of it. The process is have fun. Just go for it. Remember, success is not all in one day, and success has many faces. You could be successful in small ways, you could be successful in big ways. But the biggest success, you're on the right track, is when somebody pays you for your work. And that's when you'll know it's good enough. And really, to get to that point, you've got to take it out and let people see it, or they're not going to buy it, right? You got to show people. So you've got to stick your neck out there, put your face out there, and just say, hey, this is what I made. And be proud of it. Be excited about it, even though maybe the jewelry itself is not that exciting. And maybe you have a long way to go in your jewelry. Put it out there. People buy it. It's good enough. Period. The end. So anyway, let's set this aside, and I'll show you some of this other stuff I made. Now, these pieces, this piece was actually a pair of earrings, $6.95, huh? I thought I had them cheaper than that. Anyway, these are made out of hot glue, believe it or not. These are hot glue. See? It's just hot glue that I puddled. And I made a little pattern around the edge. And then I embedded some shell pieces into it. And then put some glaze over top with a little bit of iridescent. And that's what I sold a lot of these. This, I think, was the only pair I found like this. I forgot that I made jewelry with hot glue because I've said so many times, don't use hot glue, don't use hot. But there are times when it works out. And this survived even my hot garage, and usually hot glue doesn't. And I think the reason why is because I did a resin glaze over it, and that saved it from melting. These are also paper. And I just cut them out, put stuff on them. I got little tape, shiny tape in here that I made patterns on, and then I did resin over the whole thing, which normally I don't do resin over top of a jewel stone of any kind today. But I did back then, and it kind of jellified it. I sold a lot of them. People liked them. Yeah, these must have been for a little bit later on because they say $6.95. When I started out, they were $2, $3, and $4. Then something that's kind of funny. Now, this is kind of scary. I couldn't find the other one, but these are earrings. These are earrings. And I got to tell you, we sold a lot of them. We sold a lot of them. That was back when clothing was decorated and crazy looking. People just wore big, gaudy things. And people in this area liked that kind of thing. Big hair, big jewelry back in the late 80s, early 90s, that's the way it went. So I made these guys. I can't find the other one. But this might be interesting to repurpose, like put it on a cup or something. I don't know. I don't make jewelry like this anymore, but I did it, and I did it with friendly plastic, which is kind of hard to find now. So anyway, sold a lot of them. Now, this is really goofy. Diane and I had a really big laugh at this one. This was like, you know when they made all the lady faces and you could buy lady faces in the craft store and then you'd put a hat on it and dress it up and stuff like that. In fact, one of our classes we did, in the first boho class, the Uptown Boho #1, we did a lady face, but we did it with all kinds of fabric and it was like huge. But these are legs. So I don't know, I picked them up, they were on sale, so I'll try it. So I put big pearls and stuff on like she's in a bubble bath or something. I sold a few of them. I have this one left. I'm glad I didn't make a lot of them. But see, you just don't know. You got to put them out there. A lot of people got a good laugh on this pin, and I didn't care. I was fine. It didn't bother me at all. And then I started making brooches. Of course, they had to be real big. So this is a 3-parter, got holes in it. Actually, I don't mind this brooch at all. The idea of it is not bad. It's just the colors are kind of sad. Other than that, it's okay. You know, I might do it, something like that in clay now. But I remember having such a good time with this, and I was inspired because I had a Vogue magazine that showed a lot of Chanel jewelry, and back then they were doing a lot of stones embedded into a background and making patterns of all kinds and things like that. And they were having these dangle things and stuff like that. And old Coro jewelry. I had a brooch. It was an old Coro piece that did like this. So I thought, well, let me try that. But as you can see, I did not sell it. And I can't remember if I made a whole lot more of them or not. But this one, at that time, was not a winner for me. But if I rethought it now, I think I'd be okay. I think it'd be a worthy project for all of us. It just needs to be rethought. Okay, now we're getting to a little bit better stuff. These are paper earrings, but they have a little sense about them. They're seashell stuff and this and that, so they're done assemblage style. And the background of them, I think, is friendly plastic. See if I can get them off the card here and show you. Yeah, they're just pieces of friendly plastic that I actually glued together, which is strange, but I did. But anyway, these were Jordan's grandma's. He picked them out. I was doing a show and he saw them and he thought they were so pretty he wanted to give them to Grandma. So he did, and they're perfect condition, meaning Grandma never wore them. But when Grandma passed away, Aunt Donna found them in her dresser and she gave them back to us. So they're kind of special, even though they might be a little bit odd. They're very special to me, sentimental, you know. But I did sell a lot of jewelry like that. Okay, moving on, things are improving. This was probably maybe right before I got online, which was in 97. That's probably what this is. But they're still on the old handmade cards. This piece was made around 97, and it was made out of all kinds of stray brass pieces and a mother of pearl buckle. This is all vintage stuff, and it's an assemblage piece. It's very long, and it's kind of a little bit worse for the wear. It doesn't look too good now, but I'll tell you, I like the feel of it. I would make this piece again. I totally would, because on a jacket, this shape would totally work. If it's your style. If it's not, then you won't do it. But I would totally make this again, and I would totally wear this. And I would probably wear this. I forgot I still had it. And it's really not that great. You know, here's the back of it. It's kind of rough. But it's hauled up after all these years, you know. It's still in good shape. It did double pin back so it would stay down and not flop around. But this was made probably around 96, 97. And I remember I had one of the first magazine articles, first magazine that I was ever in was around 97. And they asked me to send them this piece, and it was in there. So anyway, I don't even remember the magazine. It's not in print anymore, but this was a magazine piece, believe it or not. So moving on from there, I had my line of jewelry that I made for stores. Now this one has darkened over time. Normally they didn't get dark like this. I think maybe I didn't lacquer it or something. I'm not quite sure why it did that, but it did. But this pin was very, we sold thousands of these. And it was very simple. And there is a video showing how to make it. I didn't show anybody how to make this for years, but I finally did. And it's just really simple. It's pearl buttons with pin back. I put this over the middle to hold it down good, and give it a nice finish. And then it's just assemblage from there on. Now, when I did these, I normally did them in raw brass. This might even have a little bit of that chocolate ox plating on it, I don't know. But they really usually did them in raw brass, and I'd shine them up, and then I would engrave them in script. And I don't have one to show you, but I would put mom, sister, grandma, teacher, whatever, love, whatever you wanted on there. And I would engrave it freehand with a Dremel in script right on this piece here. And then I would go back and take antique black and go over it back and forth, as we showed many times, how we can get stuff down into the cracks. And then I think I didn't seal it. It does not look like it was sealed, which is a mistake. It should have been sealed. But anyway, this is how we did them, and we were very successful with this piece. I don't know how well we do now. Maybe I would need to turn it into a necklace or something and wear it as a necklace, or I don't know. I just kind of feel like maybe the time has come, revamp it a little bit, put it back out there, and it'd be a good gift piece so long as you didn't charge a lot for it. Back then we charged $15 a piece, and we sold them all day long. I have catalogs. I did at one point, I think about 94, 95, I had print catalogs, and this was always in them and showed all the ways that we could make it. And we sure did. We sold a lot. Then going on, I got real artsy. Once I stopped making jewelry for the stores and I started making jewelry for me. I decided it was about me. It was about time that I did for myself what I like to do, so I did. And I loved Mona Lisa, and I was able to get these cabs from Germany. I still can get littler ones. I can't get the 40 by 30 anymore. They're not made. But I always loved Mona Lisa, and she was kind of like my sidekick back then. And so I made this piece. It's a sectional piece. See all the shells? See the little turbo shells in here? I use them to this day. And then the way it's made is really kind of a little bit crude in the back, but here's how I made it. I had filigrees up here. Oh, this turned. Filigrees up here. Now I would never glue onto filigree like that and leave it there. But that's what I did then. Same thing here. Then I used one of the little crescents that we all know, and I added another piece to it so that I would have room for my entire assemblage. And I made it. And the story that goes with this is a lady on one of the collecting groups saw it in my picture, and she wanted it really bad, and she sprung for it immediately. I think she gave me $90 for it or something. And it had earrings to go with it too. These are the earrings. These are the earrings. I think I like the earrings even a little bit better. But anyway, they're kind of big. But anyway, so she got the earrings and the necklace for around $90. And when she received it, she threw a fit. This is awful, blah, 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 going on. Oh, I never. I'm like, well, okay, don't worry about it. Send it back. I'll give you your money back. They'll be fine. And, I could understand if she was expecting something to be more polished, because this certainly wasn't, not on the back anyway. The front was fine, but the back I wasn't as careful about. Now, you guys know today, whenever I teach you how to do an assemblage piece, what do I say? Try to get the back of the piece as neat as the front. That's important. So I didn't have it as neat as I should have, but I love the design of it, and I will never sell this again. This is my piece to remind me that it doesn't matter what other people say. You can take a tip from somebody. You can listen to what they say. I listen to all criticism. I might not like to hear it. It might hurt me, but I do consider it, because there might be something there I really need to know. But as for her, she's never going anywhere. This one's mine, and it's a reminder to me. Oh, these earrings they're upside down, actually. They go like this.
Oh.
Yeah. the point goes down. Point always goes down. But it's just a reminder to me that don't let anybody ever tell you your stuff's not good enough. They might not like it. For them, that's okay. That's them. That's not you. That doesn't tear apart your ability to create or your ability to improve or anything. Got to put your stuff out there. And I'll tell you what, too, I've showed this many times and I could have sold it time and time and time again. So for the same money, or maybe even a little bit more. So it's just, a matter of taste in some cases. And so try not to be offended by that. It could be just a matter of taste. So anyway, so those are the pieces that I wanted to show you to tell you how that the only way that you will know if your stuff is good enough to sell is if you take it out there and let people see it. First, what you could do is go on Etsy and see how other people price stuff. Don't lowball people. Don't lowball your fellow artisans. Put it at a practical price that's in a range about what others would charge. And put it out there with a joyful heart. And you know what? You will draw people to yourself. The joy will draw people, but you will draw people to yourself. When they like you, when they learn to love you, and they start to follow your journey, that's when you'll begin to have some success and make some money at this. You have to, it's not about just making the jewelry and, oh, here it is, I'm the artist. No, it never is that. It's about your kindness to people, your interest in them, and wanting to know their opinion. So if you're like that, you don't charge too much for it, and you're willing to show it, yes, your work is good enough to sell. Now, I would say, on the converse, if you put stuff out, and not just one show is going to show you how it goes, do 5. If in 5 shows, nobody's buying anything, they're just smiling at you, walking away, well, that might tell you, you know what, I might need to re-examine this a little bit. I might need to look at my technique a little bit. I might need to do a little bit better. But the only way you know is to get out there and do it. So I hope you will. Don't be shy. Put it out there. Most of the stuff I see you guys making out there blows me away. And I think of how bold I was to put my crazy little pieces out there all so many years ago. But the thing is people bought them, and that's the proof. It's good enough. Okay, so you have a happy day. Go make some jewelry and go show it to people with a glad heart. Give some away, by the way, too. Be sure you give some away. The other day I had a piece on. I went somewhere and I had a real pretty peachy lacy dress, and I had this big piece on I didn't really particularly like, but it went with my dress, so I threw it on last thing as a afterthought. And a lady came along at the convention I was at, and she went nuts. She went absolutely nuts. Where did you get that? Oh my goodness, you teach it. You teach how to make that. You made that, whatever. She went on so much. I was not in love with the piece. Plus, it was a little bit rough in the back, so it was scratching up my dress, which I didn't like that because I loved that dress. So I said, well, let me know. You know what? Would you wear this piece if you owned it? Would you wear it, or would you just sit there and look at it? She said, I would wear it. So I took it off and I gave it to her. Oh my, there was joy in Mudville. I'm telling you what, she was doing the happy dance all over the place. So give your stuff away too. Doesn't even matter if it's a more expensive piece. Sometimes give it away. The joy you give to others will come back to you, and it will keep you going. It will keep you fueled. So remember that. And I'll look forward to talking to you again soon about these matters, because they're all things we need to hear. You guys have a great day. Bye.